Trust the experts, they say. Trust the experts who routinely beclown themselves over and over and over again. And we are supposed to continue to go back and trust them, even after they've completely failed without repentance. I don't think so. This is the American Academy of Pediatrics. They just came out with their guidance that all kids need to be masked in school this year. All kids, vaccinated or not, over the age of 2. A 2-year-old needs to be masked. Are you kidding me? I'm out of words. We've talked for hours and hours and hours on the radio show, the TV show. I'm out of words to describe how insane this is. There's absolutely zero basis in medicine or science for this ridiculous guidance. Now, I would gladly take this time to debunk any study that the American Academy of Pediatrics put out that caused them to come to their conclusion. I would love to take the time to debunk that study, but they did not include any study. I can't debunk anything because they never bunked. If they don't bunk, I can't debunk. So what are we doing? They didn't put a single study on their website and their guidelines and their press release, nothing that backs up how they came to their conclusion. So the only thing I am left with is telling you who the American Academy of Pediatrics are. You with me? I would much prefer to go through the science. If they presented some science, I would go through the science and we would talk about the study. They didn't do that. So what am I to do? Blindly take their word for it? You kidding me? We're not going to do that. I'm just going to give you a little reminder about who the American Academy of Pediatrics are and who these people stand for. Back in March of this year, this is one of their press releases. American Academy of Pediatrics speaks out against bills harming transgender youth. Oh my goodness. I also would like to speak out against bills that harm transgender youth. I don't want to harm anyone. What bills were there that were, I don't know, like putting kids in jail or whatever? I would be against it as well. Here's what they were talking about. Several state legislatures have introduced bills that would prohibit gender-affirming care for gender diverse and transgender youth, and would forbid transgender youth from participating on sports teams according to their gender identity. These bills are dangerous, they say. So, hold on. Not letting a boy compete in a women's sport is dangerous. And I love this line. The American Academy of Pediatrics has long been on the record in support of affirmative care for transgender children through our clinical policy. What is affirmative care? Affirmative care is if a boy says they're a girl, we affirm that. And now we're going to surgically make you a girl. So this is a group of pediatricians. So the people who came up with your mask mandate, follow me here, right? The people who came up with the latest mask guidelines is the same group of people who support cutting off genitals and removing breasts in teenagers. We did a story the other day on the radio show. I don't think we did it here. It was a study of LA Children's Hospital in 2016. It's 5 years ago. They performed dozens of mastectomies on otherwise perfectly physically healthy girls as young as 13. 13. I read the other day of a nurse who was a part of 2 mastectomies on 13-year-old girls in one day. There are children's hospitals across the country. Children's hospitals across the country. You should look into see if your children's hospital has a gender-affirming care center. They probably do now. Okay, that study I showed about dozens in LA hospitals 5 years ago. Could you fathom what they're doing today? So this is the American Academy of Pediatrics. They're a far left group. I don't even know. What do you want to call a group of doctors who are for this crazy extreme surgery that's never been done before on children? Right? I don't know. What do you want to call them? You want to call them far left? I don't even know what you want to call them. But it's a shocker that they're also falling in line with the Democrats' policies on masks. The reason it's such a shame is because no one knows that. Unless you're watching this right now, no one knows the American Academy of Pediatrics and who they really are and what they really stand for. No one knows that they're a hack group. Most people just hear the name. It sounds fancy. American Academy of Pediatrics. Oh, wait. Most people most sheep just follow these groups with fancy authoritative titles without questioning the actual science. Most people who read the headline don't actually read the studies or read the actual guidelines that they put out that have no footnotes, no citation, no studies, no data, no numbers, nothing in it. There's also a group called the American College of Pediatricians. And they're on the right. And again, like, if by on the right you mean against surgery for 13-year-olds, right? If like that's like the far right position, we're against removing this uterus in a girl. Oh, pretty far right over there. We know, because they didn't give you any numbers, I'll give you numbers. 335 people below the age of 18 have died from COVID. That's according to the CDC. 335 people under the age of 18. Over 800 have died from pneumonia. So we're going to mask up 70 million people because 335 have died, and who knows what other complications they had that led to their actual death. Maybe COVID had nothing to do with it. That is nothing could be more insane than that. One of the justifications from the American Academy of Pediatrics was this. One of the justifications that one of their bullet points as to why we need to keep masking up. An added benefit of universal masking is protection of students and staff against other respiratory illnesses that would take time away from school. Now all of a sudden they're very concerned about taking time away from school. But what they're saying here is that this is just a thing we do now. Wear masks. You just do it for other respiratory illnesses. We just wear masks now. I don't want to get sick. You don't ever want to get sick. But does that even work? American Academy of Pediatrics? Got any numbers on that? I'll share this with you about masks. This is from the Telegraph in England, not a far-right newspaper. They quoted a guy who said that an imperfect analogy for masks when it comes to blocking the virus would be imagine firing marbles at building scaffolding. Yes, some might hit a pole and bounce back, but most are just going to fly right through. This guy called them comfort blankets. Now you're saying, oh, well, what doctor is this? Well, he's a doctor, but he's a professor of mechanical and aerospace engineering. And you're thinking, well, what does this guy know? He's not a doctor. He's not a real, like a medical doctor. This guy's like, yeah. Medical doctors don't understand this. Oh, listen, medical doctors, when it comes to what happens to the body once COVID gets in the body, that's medical doctors' domain. But he says doctors are unable to comprehend the minuscule elements at play. That's this man's specialty. He said a COVID particle is 100 nanometers. Okay, we can't fathom how tiny that is. He says material gaps in surgical masks are up to 1,000 times that size. 1,000 times bigger than virus particles. Cloth masks can be 500,000 times. The gaps, are you with me? The gaps inside the material. I mean, to us, obviously, it looks like it's one piece of material, but it's not. The gaps, if you get down to the nanometer level, are 500,000 times bigger than the size of a virus particle. So to put that into perspective, because we can't, if you're 6 feet tall, imagine looking at a building that's 500,000 times taller than you. You can't. That's 3 million feet tall. That's 3 million feet tall building. That's 2,400 Empire State Buildings stacked on top of each other. So you're the virus particle. And the 2,400 Empire State Buildings stacked on top of each other is the gap in a cloth mask. The expert that my local newspaper in San Diego quoted said, as long as kids are not vaccinated, masks are critical in schools. Absolutely critical. But no one can ever tell me why.
Wow, that was deep and insightful. I want more of that. Like, subscribe, get more.